Hey, what's up? My name is Abdur and I'm gonna be an MSc student at the University of Toronto starting this fall. In my last video, I discussed some important info regarding the Canadian study permit. So if you haven't watched that already, I would suggest doing that before you proceed with this one. Well, today we'll take a look at the process of starting a study permit application and filling out the application form. But before we do that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do that before we proceed with the video. Now let's take a look at the application process for the Canadian study permit. So the first thing we need to do is log into our IRCC account. So let's do that first. IRCC login. And yeah, so here I already have an IRCC account that I created for the purpose of this video, and if you don't have one, then you can just click on register and create an account. It's straightforward. They'll ask you just some basic information like your name, email, and some security questions, and that's all. So since I already have an account, I'm gonna click on sign in. So it's asking me for my username and password. So my username was IRCC and then sign in. So yeah, I've logged in. Now click on continue, and now I'm taken to my dashboard. So here you can see that I have no submitted application because this is a fresh new account that I made for this video itself. And so right now I want to apply for a study permit. So let's go to this section of start an application and apply to come to Canada. Now here, under this, there'll be certain options that we can choose. So here we have visitor visa, study and or work permit. So since our type of application is study permit, we'll click on this option. Now, there are certain questions that we need to answer in order to proceed. So first, what would you like to do in Canada? Study. How long are you planning to stay in Canada? Temporarily, but for more than 6 months. Please select the code that matches the one on your passport. Yeah, so it will be India in my case. What is your current country or territory of residence? If you're planning to, if you're presently in Canada, you should select Canada. Okay, so current country of residence is India, and family member who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, no. And what is your date of birth? So my date of birth will be 1999 and June is 24. Okay, now next. Are you a lawful permanent resident of the United States? No. Next. Have you been accepted into a DLI or designated learning institute? So yes, I have been. I am admitted to the University of Toronto. So have you visited or lived in any one of the designated countries for 6 consecutive months in the last year? So what are these designated countries? Let's take a look. So we'll click on help here, and this is the link that they have mentioned. So let's open it in a new tab. And there's some problem with this link. So what we want to do is, if you see in the link here, in the URL, there is this URI equal to something. So let's delete everything before that and then enter. So that will open up this page, which consists of the list of countries which if you belong to, if you're currently residing in, then you'll have to give a medical exam. So for these countries, for the countries that here it says yes, then you need to, if you're traveling from that country to Canada, then you'll have to give the medical exam. So let's arrange it in terms of yes, and here we can see what are the list of the countries. So we can search for some countries here. Let's say, because I am from India, so for India you can see that the medical exam is required, so it is yes. Okay, so let's go to the original application, and here, have you visited or lived in any one of the designated countries for 6 consecutive months in the last year? So I have, because I am from India. I've been staying here for the past several years, so I'll choose yes and next. Now, have you had a medical exam performed by an IRCC authorized panel physician or doctor within the last 12 months? So since I've already done a medical upfront, Just to avoid bottlenecks in my visa application process, I'm going to select yes, because yes, I have performed a medical exam beforehand. So yes, and next. Now, do you have a guaranteed investment certificate? Yes, we have, because I have applied for a GIC and I got the GIC certificate as well. Now, did you pay your first year tuition in full? I haven't, as I told, so no. And have you taken a language test in the past 2 years? So in this case, you have to select no, because I have to select no at least, because I have written TOEFL, which is not considered as a language test for Canadian immigration and visa purposes. So I'll have to select no here. And then next. Now, what is your marital status? So it will be never married, single. Yeah, single. And what is your province of destination? So I'll be traveling to Ontario, because that is where Toronto is. So now it says that I am eligible to come to Canada as a student based on the information that I provided so far in the form. So now I'll click on continue. So now it's going to ask me some more questions. Do you have a valid work permit or study permit and need a visa to return to Canada? So no, I don't have a work permit or study permit of Canada as of now. So no, and next. Now, are you an exchange student? So I'm not. I'm going to apply as a master's student. I'm not an exchange student. Is work an essential component of your studies? So this is really important. If work, or by work I mean co-op or a research internship of any sort, is an essential component of your study period. So in my case, I'm admitted to MSc in applied computing, in which I have to study for 8 months and then 8 months of co-op internship. So since 8 months of co-op internship is a part of this program, it's an essential component of this program, I'll have to select yes here. So work is an essential component of my study. So depending upon your program, you must select this properly. Actually, one of my friends had applied last year and he chose no, even though he had work as an essential component. So there was some problem with his work permit, so they didn't grant him the work permit, he just got the study permit. So selecting yes for this question basically means that you'll not only get a study permit but also a work permit, and that work permit will be required for your essential work, which is co-op or internship. Now moving on, are you a spouse, common law partner, or child of certain skilled workers? No. Canada? No. And recipient of Commonwealth Scholarship? Again, no. Next. Are you accompanying a family member that has status in Canada or has recently been approved to come to Canada? No. Next. Have you ever committed, been arrested or charged for or convicted of any criminal offense in any country? No. Next. Do you want to submit an application for a family member? No. I'm just submitting for myself. Are you giving someone access to your application? No, I am not. I'm not going through my application process through any consultant or agent. So I'm doing it by myself. So I'm going to select no. And the next. In the past 10 years, have you given your fingerprint or and photo, which is nothing but biometrics, for any application to come to Canada? No, I haven't. This is the first time. And next. There are fees associated with this application. Will you be paying your fees or are you fee exempt? Yes, I will be paying my application fees. Next. And are you able to make a digital copy of your document with a scanner or camera? Okay, this is a silly question. Otherwise, if I don't have that, then why will I even bother applying? Anyways, we'll select yes, I do have a digital copy of the documents. And next. Will you be paying your application fees online? Yes, I will be. I do have a credit card, so yes. And next. Cool. So this is what all I have answered in the form. You can just go over it one more time if you want. I am not, so I'll just click on continue. And now again, so these are 4 steps that you'll have to follow in order to apply for your study permit. So right now we have filled the form. The only thing required, we are currently at the step 3 actually. So we're going to upload our documents now. And then the final step will be to pay the fees and submit the final submission of the application. So now click on continue. Now in this page, we have a list of all of the documents and forms that we'll have to fill. So there are 3 forms in total. One is this IMM 1294. This is the main form, that PDF form that we'll have to fill. And then we have 2 more forms. One is family information, and the other is this IMM 5257. And apart from these forms, there are certain documents that we need to provide. So let's take a look at them in order. So the first one is the evidence of work requirement in study, which is a required document. So this document is required here because earlier in the question answer, we said that work is an essential part of our study. So we need to provide a proof for that. If that is the case, then you'll get a letter from your university saying that work is an essential part of your study. So I have that letter from U of T, so that's what I'll be providing here. Then the next one is the letter of acceptance, which is nothing but the final offer letter that comes from the university. Then the passport, followed by the proof of means of financial support, digital photo, and client information. So I'll make a separate detailed video about what are the documents that are required to be uploaded here, and how exactly to format these documents before uploading. And for now, let's take a look at the forms that we have to fill for this application. And I mean, before that, scrolling down here, you can see the fees that are associated with this application. So for the study permit, the fee is 150 Canadian dollars, and for the biometric it is 85. So in total it's 235 Canadian dollars. And once we submit this application, I mean the final submission, then before that we'll have to pay this fee of 235 Canadian dollars, which comes out to be roughly 15,000 Indian rupees. Okay, so now you can click on each of these forms to open them in new tab, and then you can download them. I have already downloaded and also filled some information. So let me share that with you. So I'll go to visa forms here, and one important thing to keep in mind when opening these forms is that always use Adobe Acrobat Reader, because if I try to open it with preview, let's say, it doesn't work. So I get an error here. So I'll have to open it with preview. So this is the first form, the main form. And here you can see what detail I have filled, what information. And yes, so I want service in English, full name, date of birth, age, place of birth, citizenship, country of citizenship India, status citizen, and the previous countries or territories of residence that I have visited in the past 5 years. So in the past 5 years, I had once visited Saudi Arabia as a foreign national from this date to this date. So I have mentioned here. For most of the people, they have not traveled in the past 5 years, so they can just select no, and this field will automatically disappear. Okay, now country or territory we are applying. So in my case, it is the same as the current country or territory of residence. If not, you can click on no and you can fill where exactly you're applying from. In my case, it's the same, so I'm just going to click on yes. Now my current marital status, single, followed by language, so native language, what is the main language that I use for communication, English. Then passport number, this is just a sample passport number, and issue date, expiry date. After that, we have national identity document. So in this case, I have provided my Aadhaar. This is not my Aadhaar, by the way, this is just some random number. So here you have to provide your Aadhaar, and the country or territory of issue will be India. I mean, if you're from India, you'll have to provide your Aadhaar number. Otherwise, depending on what country you are staying in, you'll have to provide your national identity document. In India, it is Aadhaar, so I've provided my Aadhaar number, and there is no issue and expiry date, so I just left this blank. Now US PR card, no, followed by contact information, some address, and then contact number, telephone number, fax, email address, etc. Then followed by detail of the intended study in Canada. So this is all of the detail about what program I'm going to study. So University of Toronto, University Master's Degree. So these are all drop downs. So this is where you have to select what you're going for. And the field of study is also a drop down. You can't write your own thing. So my field is somewhat related to computing and IT. So that is what I chose here. And province is Ontario, city is Toronto, address. This is the address that I got on my final offer letter or admission letter. So this is what I've used here, followed by some random number in my student ID. So you will have this number given to you by your DLI, so use that, and then the DLI number. So this is the actual DLI number for University of Toronto, and my expected duration of study. So from 1st September 2022 to end of June in 2024. And then the cost of my studies. So this is the tuition fee for the first year. So this was given in my final admission letter, $38,580. So you just have to mention your first year tuition fee, not the full tuition fee. So keep that in mind. So in my case it is $38,580, and room and board will be the same as the GIC amount, which is 10,000, and other you can put 5,000. And funds available for my stay, here I've put approximately 110,000 Canadian dollars. And in my proof of funds, I mean the financial documents that I've provided, I had shown close to 120,000 using my banks, like my father's bank statements and loan offer, loan sanction letter and all. But for the safe side, I've just put it as 110. And yeah, my expenses in Canada will be paid by. So here you have certain options. I have chosen other, and I've put education loan, GIC, and sponsorship from father. Now education, in this you'll have to provide what post-secondary level education you have. So here I have provided my engineering, the information about my engineering or BTech. After that we have the employment section, where I've mentioned about what job I currently have and at what company, where it is located and all that. And after that there are some questions here that most of us will fill no. You can go over them, these are not important. Mostly the answer will be no for all of these. And in the end, do you consent to be contacted by CIC or an organization at CIC's request in the future? So select yes in this case, and just type your name here and the date, and that's all you need to do. And once you've done this, you'll have to click on validate. Click on OK, and that will generate some barcodes here. So this is really important. Once you do this, then save this document, and after that you'll have to upload it in your visa application. So here you'll have to so this was IMM 1294, so here you'll have to upload this file. Similarly, there are two other forms. The other one is the family information, which is 5645, sorry. So let's open that. Again, open it with Adobe Acrobat Reader, and here you can see type of application will be student. And here so in the section A, it's going to be about myself, some information about me, like my date of birth, country of birth, marital status, present occupation, address, and so on. And then about my mother and father, and if I have a spouse, then yeah, that as well, and whether or not they'll be accompanying me to Canada. So you'll have to take yes or no. After that, if you have children, then you'll have to mention mention their details here, and similarly your siblings as well. Now after that, you just have to fill the date here, and you can't sign this because it doesn't take it. So in the offline process, this was something that was required, but in the online process, signature is not required. You just have to write the date and save this document. So that is all. There's nothing much in this document. This is pretty straightforward. And the last document here is again open with Adobe. Yeah, so the last document is about my previous travel history and several other things. This again is not very important. So given name Abdur Rahman, date of birth, and military service no, ill treatment prisoner, civilians no. So most of these will be no. I mean the answer for most of these questions will be no. And after that, previous travel, for me it is yes, because I had traveled twice to Saudi Arabia in the last 5 years. So here you can see the dates that I've provided, location where I went to, the country that I traveled to, and the purpose of travel. So make sure you write this properly, and these dates have been picked from my passport stamps. So here you can see like the first visit was because family shifted to Saudi Arabia for my father's job, and the second visit was just for a month or two, and it was for visiting family that was staying in Saudi Arabia. And that is all. Once it is done, you can click on validate, and it will just say whether or not all the fields that you filled are valid. And just click on OK, save this, and that is all done. So these are the 3 forms that you'll have to fill, and after that you'll have to upload them in the respective locations. And the other documents here are supposed to be collated and uploaded again, but I'll make a video, as I told, about these, so stay tuned for that. So that is all about the application process and how to fill the Canadian Study Permit application form. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you later.